Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's not a derby preview. I promised you a derby preview today. It's not that. It's all kicking off the day before the derby. It's time for a Celtic transfer talk. Right out of the blue. Right out of the green, I should say. It's terrible. But transfer season is upon us. Not one, not two, but 3 players linked with Celtic over the past 24 hours. Let's dive into it. Let's talk about them and see who could be joining Celtic this summer. Hello, welcome back to the channel. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. It would be much appreciated. Today there's going to be a double upload of sorts because I still will preview that derby game tomorrow. Later on in the channel, hopefully we'll be going live for a preview, so join me then. But today, early on, we've got to get this news out the way. It's transfer season. And I'm excited. It's that time of the year again where we're linked with 101 different players across the globe and only about 3 of them actually signed for Celtic. But we're starting early this year. We've got our first few names in. So, as always, we're going to look at each player. We're going to talk a bit about their profile and see what they could mean for us this summer if they join Celtic, and the greater ramifications if they join Celtic. But very exciting. 3 players that really catch my eye, and I'm sure they'll catch yours. I don't want to be here all day talking about these players, so we're going to try and kind of go through their profile as kind of quickly as possible. And the more that we hear about each player and the more realistic it becomes over the course of the summer, I will deep dive. We'll go a little bit further. But today, let's just briefly go over all 3 players. Player number 1 then, and we're heading over to the J-League as we've often done over the past 2 years since the arrival of Ange Postecoglou. And we're going to be talking about, let me get the pronunciation right, Ryotaro Ito, I believe it might be. We're going to refer to him as Ito throughout the remainder of this video. Ito's an attacking midfielder who has been compared quite often, but by the looks of it, he's been compared quite often to Rio Hatate in terms of the player and his style and what he brings to the park, which is, you know, I'll have as many Rio Hatates as you like. 1 Hatate, 2 Hatate, 3 Hatate more. I'll take all of them. So Ito has been compared to Rio Hatate, an attacking midfielder. Currently plays for Albirex Niigata in the J-League, he's having a breakout season. You know, he's not been around for long, just similar to how Hatate was when he came to Celtic. He wasn't around for too long. Some late bloomers in the J-League, and Ito is similar to that. He fits that mould, sort of a late bloomer. But this season, he's been doing well, and last season really had a breakout in the 2nd division of Japan. So far this season, 12 appearances, 6 goals and 2 assists in the league alone. Of course, cup competitions haven't started yet. But last season, in the J2 League, 20 goal involvements in 42 games. Very active from that attacking midfielder role. As we said, similar to Hatate. Hatate often getting involved in goals, whether it be scoring them or assisting them. So we're seeing a kind of shadow of that here with Ito. But this season he's off to a flyer in the J-League in his professional season there. And he's looking good. He's caught an eye, and a very particular eye, Ange Postecoglou's eye, because the rumour is that this is one of the players who have been identified by Ange as a top target for the summer transfer window. There's nothing been said on price yet, and there's nothing that's been said on a potential deal that Celtic could look into here with numbers anyway. But I am assuming that, like every J-League signing that we have made so far, that there could be a bargain up for grabs here. His transfer market value is around £800,000, which, yeah, take that with a pinch of salt because they're not always accurate to the actual going price that clubs want. But if you're talking around £1 million, this could be another very cheap start for Celtic in the window. We've made very smart business from the J-League so far. You look at the accumulative fees for the players that we have signed from Japan so far, and it's unbelievable. Considering we've signed, 5? We've signed Hatate, Kyogo, Maeda, Ideguchi, Kobayashi, Iwata. 6 players from the J-League. And the accumulative fee, I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head, but it's very little. You could buy so many players from this J-League and they'll come over and they'll give you something. The one that's not worked out so far is Ideguchi, right? But it's not been the end of the world. And, you know, when he was asked to contribute, he did. He was just very unlucky that he got a big injury. So you're hoping that if we find another bargain from the J League here, they don't come over and get injured, and once again they chip in to what could be a very successful Celtic side with all these J League players. So yeah, could be a bargain of a fee. Who knows? They are newly promoted, this side. This is their first year in the J League. He's doing really well, of course, since the promotion. And catching the eye of Ange Postecoglou and more. So, you know, that it seems like a club that might be in a position where they can't demand a big fee anyway, you know, they're one of the smaller sides in the J League. So, yeah, exciting. Another one of the great Japanese players to add to the the many we've already got would be fantastic. Final point on Ito that I want to make is, it does obviously ring alarm bells for some surrounding Hatate. Oh, does this mean he's away if we're picking up a player who's apparently similar to Hatate? No, absolutely not. I think we could be doing with some depth in the attacking midfield, considering I would expect to see David Turnbull maybe move on in this window. Aaron Moyes not getting any younger. So I would expect to see depth being built in that area, and Ito could be a very viable option. Player numero dos. The one that I am most excited by, the one that kind of grips me the most here, Ardon Jashiri, not Hardon Jashiri. Behave yourselves. Ardon Jashiri, central defensive midfielder, currently playing and captaining Luzern over in Switzerland, who are sitting 4th in the Swiss Pro League right now, by the way. He has been linked with a move away from the club this summer transfer window. It's virtually a guarantee that he will move on. There's so many big clubs apparently interested in Ardon Jashiri, and Celtic are one of them. And in quotations from the article that broke the news, where is it? Let me find my quote. Where's my quote? Celtic are seen to be above all in the race for Jashiri. Above all. Ooh. Only 20 years of age. Already in the Swiss national team. He was a surprise call-up to the Swiss national side for the World Cup. So he was over in Qatar for the 2022 World Cup. And he's been attracting interest from some big sides over Europe. Celtic have competition for Ardon Jashiri, and it's one of those ones that I'm not going to set my hopes too high for, considering the names in there. We'll talk about that. But Celtic apparently above all in the deal. Young, classy player by the looks of it. And it's one that just really, really excites me. This was reported by Swiss outlet Blick, who released the article saying that Celtic are interested, they've had interest in previous windows as well. The only stumbling block could be the transfer fee wanted for Ardon Jashiri. So we'll talk about that in a moment. Let's have a look at the player himself, because this season he's had a cracking campaign, 34 appearances in the season for Luzern from that central defensive midfielder role, including 4 assists. From deep in the midfield, and Luzern aren't a side who, you know, probably attack as much as Celtic. So, you know, you're not expecting the central defensive midfielder to be bagging goals left, right and centre anyway, but by all accounts seems a good player. And that's the reason there's interest being picked up from clubs all over Europe. So some of the names, some of the sides interested in Ardon Jashiri. Porto, apparently the main competitors for his signature this summer transfer window, attracted interest by Serie A clubs Lazio and Atalanta. Apparently they made an approach for the player. Great demand is the phrase being thrown around for Ardon Jashiri. You see the names of the clubs here: Lazio, Atalanta, Porto, Celtic. If we're above all here, you know, I don't want to get my hopes up, but that's a great compliment to Celtic. And I think, you know, it could speak volumes of this guy here. Now, the fact that he's only 20 years old, brilliant, fantastic. I would love to see him through the door. The only thing is the transfer fee. The price tag that Luzern apparently have on young Jashiri here and what they're looking for is around the fee of £7 million, which is a lot of money to Celtic, of course. We don't regularly spend that much on players. Last season, we kind of shocked ourselves by spending £6.5–7 million on both Jota and Cameron Carter-Vickers. Is that a sign of things to come? Does that mean we're more comfortable to pay fees like that now? Of course, our record signing is Odsonne Edouard for roughly £9 million. But £7 million is the fee that apparently Luzern are looking for. Now, my only concern with that is, listen, if he's that good a player, I wouldn't mind paying £7 million. I would love a classy central midfielder to come in and speed us forward in European football. But we have classy centre midfielders, and that's where the problem lies. We already have Callum McGregor. We've already brought in Tomoki Iwata in the January transfer window, who, by all accounts, is off to a great start here at Celtic. So are Celtic going to pay £7 million for someone in the same position? Are they going to pay that? I'm not so sure. The only thing that I can think of is the fact he is only 20. That's much young. That's 10 years on Callum McGregor and a few years on Tomoki Iwata. So you're looking at potentially the next man to hold that role down in the central defensive midfielder, you know, when things start. But that's the thing. McGregor's not the kind of player to slow down. McGregor isn't slowing down anytime soon. He's going to be playing first team football for Celtic for the next 5 years. I guarantee it. Obviously, taking aside any, and touch wood, any injuries. McGregor can hold that spot for the next 5 years. He's the fittest guy in the world, let alone Celtic. Played more football than anybody over the last few years in world football. So he's not going to slow down. So that's my only thinking. It's like, are Celtic ready? Are Celtic prepared to pay £7 million for a central defensive midfielder? If we've already got two there. I guess it all kind of comes back to that same point that Ange Postecoglou brought up in the AGM last year. Like, you know, favourites will leave, we will be ruthless, and there'll be a constant stream of players coming in. And I've always made this point, and I've echoed it so many times, I'll echo it once more. No one's possession on this side is safe, and we can better everywhere. You know, that we can better every single position. And if there's someone better ready to come in, and if someone's ready to stake their claim and be a better player in any position, then we should go for it. We should chase it. And who knows, it could be Ardon Jashiri. I think out of the three players we're going to talk about today, it's the one that I'm least confident will happen, but it's certainly the one that excites me the most. And finally, the third and final player for today's Celtic transfer talk is our right winger. A position which I think that, you know, a lot of Celtic fans have echoed, maybe a time for someone to come in. Maybe some depth in that position. So we've been linked with one, Diego Valois, the Colombian international currently playing in Argentina. He is the next one to be linked with Celtic today. Reported by Scott Burns, it said that a 26-year-old has been looked at by Celtic, currently playing his club football for Talleres in Argentina. And he's got 6 caps for the Colombian international team, which is quite impressive, considering Colombia is one of those international sides that you look at and kind of look at it in a more talented light. So he's been linked with the side. He's been linked with us. Right winger, pace seems to be the aim of the game here. And I would like this to happen. I'd like as well. It doesn't even need to be Diego Valois. I would like us to sign a right winger in this transfer window. Be it him, I'm fine with that. 26 years of age, so he's obviously experienced. He's played football for a number of years at top level in South America now, and he could come in and offer a bit of experience straight off the bat in that right wing area, which would be fantastic. And obviously we're in this situation just now with Lee Alabada. We don't know if he's going to be coming or going, and obviously we need to be prepared for that. So by bringing in a right winger, someone who has been playing a lot of football for a number of years, I wouldn't mind it. 26, a good age, prime. In the league last season, the league alone, 17 appearances, 5 goals, 1 assist. And so far this season, the 2023 campaign, he's on 12 appearances, 2 goals and 3 assists. So it seems like he has got the ability to score and create goals. But I think that what I've been reading is that pace is the main tool here. And obviously for Ange Postecoglou's football, we like a lot of pace. If we have Dyson Maeda bombing down the left, Valois bombing down the right, nice combination, good combination to have, and hopefully a lot of technical ability as well. But the fact he's got goals and assists his name so far this season, seems to be enjoying himself. Love that. And a good age to come in, as I've already said. The Bernabeu effect is what I'm talking about here, and this is what I want. You know, a wee pal. No, you know, we've seen that we've made our first signing from South America, and we read back when Ange first came in that he wanted to dive into different markets that Celtic don't normally dive into, and the 2 primary markets he wanted to dive into was the Asian and the South American market. And we broke into the South American market for the first time last year with Bernabeu. So is this us now following up on that? I think it's obviously playing in Argentina just now. It would be great, you know, a bit of familiarity for Valoyes, for Bernabé. I think they can both help each other in that sense. But it's also good just to now explore and get to see the players from the Argentinian market and see where we go from there. So yeah, exciting. Christ on a bike. That's it. There's your 3 players. Woof, a long Celtic transfer talk. Didn't expect to be making this early this morning, but I seen the news last night and I thought, God, had to get it done, didn't I? So there you go. What a season we're in for, huh? 23, 24. It's going to be a good summer, isn't it? A lot of talk. Right, like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video. I hope you appreciate it. We'll be back tonight for our derby preview. Yes. Check it out then. Keep an eye out for it. See you next time.